Intel finally gets some money from the CHIPS Act. Now, I want everyone to remember when this CHIPS Act actually came into to play. It was approved in 23? No, it was in 2022. So you want the government to drive the future of innovation. Look how fast they move. Now, just remember, when they actually approved this, nobody was using ChatGPT yet.
By the way, look who started it, too. It wasn't even under this administration.
No. It's brutal how slow this stuff proliferates and progresses. The good news is it happened. The bad news is it's not enough. And by the way, this was a big part of the Pat Gelsinger discussion. I think they gave him about $8.5 billion in grants, another $11 billion in loans. And, you know, based on the way we're running up our global debt in the U.S., it was $1.25 trillion now that we're creating in debt. It feels like $52 billion is not enough money for the most important technological revolution on the planet and the U.S.'s ability to substantiate, legitimize, and protect its long-term interests. Now, having said that, this will go a long way to getting Intel super fabs off the ground. We will need somewhere in the US, somewhere in the West, to be able to produce all these XPUs, to be able to produce all these GPUs, to be able to, and Intel is a viable option for this. Pat, I've been on the record for a while. I've said the foundry business might be the most interesting business that Intel has. That's not to say the other parts of the business aren't interesting. I'm just saying that right now with this AI growth, TSMC cannot take 100% of this on. I'm sorry, it will not happen. Pat, I don't feel like it was optimal, though. I don't feel like what they got was really what they had hoped for or what they wanted. I feel like this was a little bit, there were some concessions here. 11 billion of loans versus, you know, 20 billion, including grants, felt like a bit of a kick in the teeth for the company that has raised its hand, stepped up and said, we will be the company that will bring manufacturing at the leading edge from a U.S. domestic company back. And now you are also hearing about Samsung getting money, TSMC getting money. Lots of non-U.S. based companies are seemingly lined up to get dollars here. And that's okay. Those are our partners and allies. But having said that, I don't know that we're solving as much of the problem as we need. And again, I go back and say there is no way in heck that 52, 53, whatever it was, $53 billion is enough if we want to maintain global leadership in technology. And the way we spend money on other things, wars and other things that do not apply to us, it just absolutely blows my mind that we are not spending more money to make sure we lead in the most important technological revolution that will drive national security, technology leadership, and supply chain resilience around the world.
I'm going to just do some really quick hits here. I was asked by a press, who's the loser here? And the loser is TSMC. TSMC will get money, but based on the fact that TSMC isn't going to bring their best to Arizona, A, and B, their chairman and senior executives. Right?
They're only bringing 7.
Their chairman and chief executives are calling U.S. workers lazy, which, by the way, even if it were true, you know, don't have one hand and then slap somebody across the face. But some even historical stuff is coming out from TSMC in the way that they've talked about other cultures and companies. And by the way, it's driving U.S.-based semiconductor companies crazy at how TSMC, executives pull me aside and tell them how disappointed they are in the way that TSMC is operating here. The other question I get is this enough? And the short answer is no. There will need to be a CHIPS Act 2 and a CHIPS Act 3 until we get to some form of automation and replication to build these foundries. Congratulations to Intel. By the way, I was one of the only analysts 3 years ago that gave Intel a chance. If I got $1 for every person who came along and said that they should divest, I said, you are completely freaking crazy because Intel's not ready to do that. Maybe when they get off their, they get liftoff with 18A and they've got Columbus up and running, then you might be able to do that. But now, dumb.
Hey, I just want to say that there was another analyst that gave them a chance that actually has written the bull case, has taken a lot of shit, a lot of flack from people.
A lot of beep.
God, should we beep that out? Never mind. Let's just keep going. I want this pod to be authentic, Pat Moorhead. beep. We said it. We stick by it. We get it right a lot more than we get it wrong. We aren't going to say we never get it wrong. We'll just never remind you that we got it wrong. You're going to have to find that stuff yourself.